a lot of Slack messages and Zoom calls happened to get us here, but here we are. We've had really, really good stability and throughput of the network. There really haven't been any issues. We released a couple of like quick patches, but certainly the networks run really smoothly, which at least kind of for me personally makes me think the month of calibration that we did was really, really well spent, and puts us in a really good place to kind of improve on our last few things to get mainnet ready. From the engineering point of view, right now, all we want to do is kind of collect feedback from you folks, and improve things as we can to launch Filecoin soon, which everyone is very excited for. As always, thank you all for your support, for the amount of effort that went into y'all preparing for this, and for, as always, for your patience and support of the Filecoin project, and for joining today. Yeah, so we kind of just wanted to have a bit of an opening ceremony to kind of celebrate this milestone and more formally kick off the event. So that's what we're doing here today. In terms of our agenda, we'll hear from Filecoin founder Juan, who will kind of talk about where we're at, and then Mosh, or Michelle Lee, will be taking us through the space race program itself, and Ian Darrow, who many of you might be familiar with as well, will kind of run through the rules of the competition and go over some questions that have been coming up a lot. And at the end of this, I think Angie Maguire will talk about essentially the events calendar that we have for Space Race, to cover all of the stuff that will be happening over the next 3 weeks. Feel free to be vocal in the chat. We always love hearing from you. So please share your thoughts, feedback with us. And yeah, I hope everyone's as excited as I am. This is a very cool time in the project. So yeah, let's get started. Our first speaker will be Juan. So Juan, if you wanna jump on and share your screen, that'd be great. I'll stop sharing mine.
Thanks so much, Aayush.
You're welcome. Take it away.
All right. Can folks see that? Can I get like a thumbs up? Great, perfect. All right, so we have Liftoff. This is a really exciting time. I wanted to just check in a little bit on why Web3 matters and why we're all here. So today in this intro, I'm gonna remind ourselves of why we're all working on what we're working on, why Filecoin matters, and then dive into kind of the purpose of Space Race and where we're going from here. So there's all kinds of really important revolutions in technology. The last 100 years or so have seen all kinds of improvements in our civilization. We have all kinds of important things happening especially in the areas of computing and in the creation of the internet, this amazing kind of nervous system that connects all of us. And from there, kind of like the latest shift and improvement in the internet is Web3. So when you look back and you think of the last 80 years, computing has really transformed who we are and how we work and how we live and everything about the species. So we're kind of going through this phase transition where as we're building this technology, as we're building all of this computing infrastructure, we're melding with our machines and so on. And in just a very short time span, it's radically transformed what we're able to do. We have deeply amazing superpowers that are absolutely indistinguishable from magic in the past and really defy the imagination of our ancestors. And this is a really phenomenal thing. And a lot of it is driven by the contributions of small groups of people who create some new piece of technology, and then that gets larger and larger groups of people interested in it, and then it kind of diffuses to all of society. And so those kinds of contributions have been really pivotal in this improvement rate. And today, the internet is this amazingly permissionless environment where we get to make those kinds of changes. Just checking in with our society today, I mean, there's billions of humans and trillions of computers living and working together, deeply integrated. Every year it gets harder to count the number of computers that you interact with every day. And when you look ahead, that number is going to be much larger. And so all of the computing infrastructure we use and the rules for how those systems work and the rights that we have and so on really matter, right? So who controls these, what are the rules and the protocols, who can stop giving us access. All of those kinds of things become incredibly important when the level of integration is this deep. These days, most human activity is assisted by computers, and the internet is constantly granting us these new superpowers. So everything from our work, from our play, from how we learn, how we communicate with each other, how we hang out, especially in this time, in this kind of crazy 2020 year with the pandemic. It's just been amazing how much of our lives has been able to carry on through the internet. All of these systems are seeping into every corner of human life, and the pretty amazing thing is, all you have to do to grant people new superpowers is build an application or build a new system, deploy it to the internet, and get users. And so that level of permissionless innovation is amazing. Is really truly powerful. And the crazy thing is that even as transformative as computing has been, it's going to be even more so. There's very large changes coming ahead. Things like augmented reality, virtual reality, brain-machine interfaces, things like autonomous driving and autonomous vehicles, artificial intelligence of various different sorts, and even potentially someday artificial general intelligence, which is a whole other, all bets are all off kind of situation. So when you look, when you think about 2020 and where we are, and you look back in the last 80 years and the progress of computing, it's been pretty breathtaking and amazing what we've been able to achieve as a species and the superpowers we've been able to grant to people. But when we look ahead in the next 80 years, things are really hazy, and it's very hard to predict what's going to happen. So there's this amazing quote from Alan Kay, who worked on all the personal computing stuff and invented a lot of the things we use today. The best way to predict the future is to invent it. And so that really means that ensuring good futures, predicting good futures, is really up to us to invent them. And so that, thinking about how we use computers, how we use our systems, how they work, and so on, all of that, really fits into why we're here today, why we're building the things we're building, and why both the Falcon project and the Web3 ecosystem and so on is here because of that. And so the Web3 environment is the next iteration of the web. It's trying to build trying to evolve the application platform into making it a read-write trust medium, adding verifiability across the stack, adding verifiability to transactions, adding verifiability to storage, adding verifiability to all kinds of important systems, and shifting kind of beyond just the read-write interactivity, but now making sure that our protocols and systems can give us certain assurances, and they're not going to break, or are not going to cease to give us access and so on. So the ability to rely on the systems is one of the really important fundamental next steps. And some of the Web3 values, I've kind of described them as this in the past, where things like freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, being able to kind of securely publish information, securely communicate, own and control our data, being able to transact freely with each other, not relying on central control, having verifiability. All of these kinds of things are some of the potential Web3 values. This is my take on it. Of course, there's a lot of other folks who have a different list here, but it usually kind of intersect on some of these things. And I think one of the really important things coming ahead is building infrastructure for societies where we can have self-sovereign identity, self-sovereign communication systems, and so on, so that we don't have to rely on centralized corporations that might not have our best interest at heart, or potentially governments who might disallow us from communicating in certain ways. So Web 3.0 is kind of this combination of the decentralized web tech, so things like IPFS and other protocols that are about kind of making the web peer-to-peer, the combination of blockchain systems and verifiability and game theory and the whole crypto tokens world, and the idea of having linked data and representations of databases and so on that are freely accessible by anybody, not just kind of behind an API. So all of those three things put together really give us what Web 3.0 is. I'll leave it at that. If you're interested in more, if you're new to Web3 and you want to find out more, I've given these two talks talking a bit more about it, and there's a whole host of other really amazing talks and materials from a lot of other people. So yeah, just look up search for it or on YouTube. You'll find really great stuff out there. Great. Shifting gears to Filecoin. It's time to start mining. The testnet has been here for a while. It is now we're getting to the space race. Soon, we're very close. We're on the weeks away from mainnet launch, and that'll be the time to really start providing storage services to other folks and earn Filecoin for doing so. The mission of Filecoin is to build and to create a decentralized, efficient, and robust foundation for humanity's information. So there's a lot there, and each of these words is chosen carefully. So we want the system to be decentralized and free from central control. We want all of the assurances and values of the Web3 world. We want those kinds of guarantees. We also want the system to be efficient. We want it to be an efficient allocation of resources. We don't want a lot of wasteful kind of proof of work or systems like that waste resources. We want to be able to tap into all kinds of market systems that enable us to get better and better quality of service and better resource distribution and allocation. And in our view, kind of proper open permissionless markets are the way to get there, and not kind of the more centralized, very large kind of monopoly environment of the cloud of today. We want these systems to be robust. We want them to be systems that are hard to break, that many people participate in serving, where even if you take down one part of the network, the rest of the network survives, where you can take down one organization and that's fine, no problem, like the rest of the system continues. We want a robust foundation that many folks can really build on and build other applications and other systems on. So we're designing Filecoin to be able to do that. Of course, that's a really tall order. There's a lot of work that is required there to be able to yield this. And so it's taken many years to get where we are now. And it's going to take many more years to really build out that foundation and get it super stable and rock solid, where all kinds of applications and other systems can just hook on top of Filecoin and just kind of really rely on it in a way that nobody relies on other cloud storage today. And finally, we really want it to be used for all kinds of information, for everything that humans are using our computing infrastructure for today, all kinds of really valuable data sets, and everything from important public data to personal data sets to your personal data or organization's data, all of that kind of stuff. We want to make Filecoin capable of serving all of those needs. And there's some specific areas and some specific applications that will work sooner. And so we'll be, as a whole community, we'll probably be focused on some specific areas and some segments of that large quantity of information. But over time, we want to create something that's super general and super capable of meeting the needs of humanity long term. And that really means also a level of scale that many other systems are not oriented for. The amount of data, the amount of information that humanity is generating is now in the zettabyte scale. And so we want Filecoin to be able to scale to that size. Of course, today, we already are reaching pretty large and staggering scales, but really being able to reach zettabytes, that's a whole other level. So it's a long journey between now and being able to serve at that level. But that'll be an evolutionary pathway that we take that journey we'll take together. And we want, at the end of the day, we want an open and permissionless market where our digital future is up to the community serving our data together. And we want an environment where anybody can be a miner, anybody can store the data of clients and serve it, and where Filecoin is very good and efficient at putting content and data on various different corners of the world where it's needed. At the end of the day, all of Filecoin is about providing a service to users. So it's not just mining and transaction processing like other blockchains. Filecoin has the very explicit goal of making sure that all this data is stored by users. So core to the entire system is clients working with miners to store their data. And so miners competing to win storage contracts and so on. So a lot of mechanisms in the system are built entirely around that. And of course, to earn Filecoin, miners must prove that they're storing the data properly and not lose it and so on. And a lot of the mechanisms and systems in Filecoin are there to make sure that happens. Longer term, for retrieval, this is a whole other area of interesting problems around being able to find copies of the data that are close by, being able to move content to certain regions where it might be hot and requested a lot, and so on. And we tend to refer to this as the retrieval market. So there's sort of the storage market side and then the retrieval market side. The retrieval market kind of stretches all the way into kind of CDN territory, where you want a system to respond to requests and be able to kind of move around the data, move around to various different nodes depending on the demand. This stuff is very much in the earlier stages. Where we are today is the main area is the storage market, and all of that is built out, and so we can get Filecoin going. A lot of the retrieval market is in early days. Basic retrieval is there, and you can find and retrieve things quickly and so on, using payment channels and whatnot. But the CDN, the full auto-scaling CDN capability, will be built out by the community over time. And kind of the vision for the long term is to really enable anybody with mining rigs to from a small home setup all the way to really large scale data centers to come together into this market, bring their storage, bring their services, and have a robust economy that we can all use. And so really we want to make sure that folks can mine at any scale. Already we've been working pretty hard to bring down the minimum mining requirements, and we're getting pretty close there. And we also know that a lot of miners are operating at pretty large scales, and that's really exciting. At the end of the day, there's this marketplace where storage providers need to meet clients, and sort of the block reward is a good way to build out the supply at first, and kind of over time be able to kind of build a client side demand. So you can think of the first few months and maybe year of the Filecoin network as being able to focus primarily on kind of Web3 applications and applications that can use the that already kind of require something like Filecoin and so on, and then use that time period to prove out the network, build out a lot of features that maybe clients need to use, and then from there kind of expand out to a lot of the rest of the world. So really helping Web3 cross the chasm and actually serve a lot of the users of the Web 2. And so sort of where we are today, it's been a very long journey for a lot of us. We've been working for many years to get here. We've had a really amazing year with a whole bunch of testnets and the ecosystem growing. We're kind of in this space race moment, and then kind of after this, we can finally launch the mainnet. I do want to flag though that mainnet launch is not the end at all. Mainnet is really just the beginning for a whole host of activity that the ecosystem is gonna do together. And so just like in Ethereum, if folks remember, there was a long stretch of work between kind of the inception of the project and the mainnet launch, but then after that, a ton of the exciting activity and application development and so on happen after. So this is a very important time with Space Race, very important time with mainnet coming up, and then after that, it's all of the waves of improvement the community and the ecosystem is gonna drive. We don't know what's gonna happen. Things like DeFi recently in the Ethereum ecosystem have been these amazing explosions of activity. We have no idea what kind of new and amazing things Filecoin is going to enable. So I'm especially looking forward to the synergy between Filecoin and next generation blockchain systems like Ethereum 2 and a whole bunch of others. All of the things that we're going to be able to build at that point are going to be really interesting. So you can think of testnet as like the rocket being tested out in the hangar, and we're putting it into all kind of final stress tests and so on, and making sure that everything is good. You can think of the space race as finally getting up, getting the rocket ready to go, and we're heading over to mainnet. So this moment is a really important moment for the entire network. Just a quick update. It's been pretty amazing to see just all of the activity across the ecosystem. So the testnets that we've had so far have shown just the amazing scale that we can reach. The testnet 2 reached 32 petabytes, which is a huge deal. Today we're already at 16 petabytes with the space race, which is pretty amazing. And there's a whole bunch of other things going on that I'll dive into. So earlier this year, I put out a call for pictures of various different mining setups, and I got this just overwhelming and awesome set of images. I would love to get more. I would love to get kind of updated pictures and potentially video of folks and their setups. I'm gonna try and collect a lot of that so that we can kind of feature it during the space race and so on. So if you're watching this and you are mining, take pictures of your setups or video, send us a greeting, and then we'll figure out what to do, how to put all of that together and feature it for the whole community. But just this is amazing. Like the level of quality in the storage facilities that we're seeing is just awesome. And there's a ton of organizations mining, and this is outdated already, but this is just a snapshot of a whole bunch of folks that are mining Filecoin already. Around the world, there's folks all over the place. And really exciting. There are some folks who went out and produced this really cool set of videos. And they're claiming to have like really huge, staggering scale of storage. So we'll see how that turns out in mainnet. But hopefully we can get to the exabyte scale this year. And I want to give a huge shout out to all of the different community leaders who are really building out the Filecoin community by hosting meetups, organizing conferences, spreading the word about what Filecoin is. That is super useful and valuable to the whole network. Thank you so much for doing that and for taking the time to explain how things work and helping grow the community. That's a really important part in all of these open systems, and especially open source and blockchain protocols. So really thank you to all the community leaders out there. And so yeah, it's been kind of where we sit today is just this amazing ecosystem with a whole host of participants. And I think I speak for everybody involved with the project, not just at Protocol Labs, but in many other organizations and companies. It's just amazing. It's really breathtaking to be part of such an active ecosystem. So much going on. It's really hard to keep track at this point. Really great work going on all over the place. Super vibrant. It can't wait to see where the next years take us. I want to give a huge shout out also to the ETH Global folks and the entire HackFS set of hackers over the last month or so. Around 600 people worked super hard to build a whole bunch of applications. The first generation things built on IPFS and Filecoin and so on, using tooling like Textile Firegate and Fleek and a bunch of others. This was a really amazing event, and really the apps that people are making are already kind of Web 2 quality, and they're built entirely in IPFS and Filecoin, and it's really amazing. So go and check that out in the HackFS showcase, and I really hope to see a bunch of these in the Filecoin mainnet. Especially shout out to folks who are like working on bridges to Ethereum and things like Raptfill and so on to bring DeFi to Filecoin. So kind of like a next important stage is going to be a lot of the IPFS applications that have been using IPFS for a very long time now can start using Filecoin and start storing their data there. Especially the ones that are built with textile buckets and so on will find it super easy to use Powergate and then transition over. Others will find kind of a smooth path as well with other tools. But now like I'm super excited to see all of this amazing data that's on IPFS today now migrate over to Filecoin. And it would be really cool to be able to do this, some of this before even the mainnet happens, like just doing it directly on Space Race. So some of us are going to be trying to run some tests and trying to do some deals to store a bunch of like really useful data already on Space Race. So I wanted to give a little bit of a preview on some crypto econ documents that we're going to be sharing later on this week or maybe early next week. This set of documents kind of describe how the Filecoin economy is supposed to work, why a lot of the mechanisms are there, and so on. And so I wanted to really stress at the moment why a lot of the space race conditions are about not just providing storage and mining the blockchain, but also making sure to serve deals correctly. At the end of the day, all of Filecoin really relies on this interaction between miners and clients. Clients bringing data, miners storing that data and providing that service. That's at the end of the day why Filecoin is here. And so you can really think of Filecoin as an export economy where you can think of kind of like an island nation with raw materials and production and kind of exporting the service of cloud storage to the rest of the world. And so what's going to make the network utility and the value of it over time grow is that entire kind of like closed loop production of taking the raw materials like disks and and power and computers and so on, organizing it with like the work of miners and the work of kind of researchers building protocols and improving the protocol and developers building applications, all of that kind of pieced together into these storage related goods and services, which are then kind of providing utility to clients that are kind of coming from outside of the island nation and kind of coming into the economy. And so this is like if you're kind of looking for a model for how to think about Filecoin and how to think about the Filecoin economy, and this is a really good one. It's not the only one. There are other models, and other folks might have other perspectives, but this is what we've been thinking around and modeling things after. I want to point out like the very important and symbiotic relationship between all of the different folks in the ecosystem. So miners, clients, developers, token holders, and ecosystem partners. All of these are loose groups. There's a lot of other smaller groups as part of these larger groups, and there's all kinds of important relationships that these groups bring to the table as participants in this economy, right? So miners aggregate the resources, use the protocols built by developers, and provide the storage services for clients who then use and buy those storage services, and then do so by paying for them with a token, which they get from token holders, and so on. And then ecosystem partners are a really important part of the picture, where these groups are helping spot areas of the ecosystem that might need new infrastructure or new systems or new applications, and are working on developing them. And so you can think of the different stages of the economy with different levels of emphasis and kind of revenue driving. And so you can think of different stages in the system as like the first stage of the network is really about building out capacity and proving out the quality of the network, doing the first iterations of use cases with early applications, IPFS users, and so on, having kind of pretty basic retrieval, and really orienting kind of a lot of the revenue streams for miners and others around kind of the block reward and the block minting. And so over time, we'll transition that to stage 2 with a much more scalable chain, reducing a lot of the costs of production, much more efficient proofs and retrieval, and then kind of start shifting into kind of like more of the baseline minting level. And hopefully at that point, like the quality of service of the whole network is improving, and suddenly deal payment starts picking up as an important revenue driver as well. So we in the stage 1, the block reward is kind of dominant. In stage 2, kind of it's still dominant, but deal payment is starting to come in. And then kind of in stage 3, in the long term, it's really about a full suite of applications and products around the Filecoin ecosystem, being able to serve all kinds of use cases, having a very strong brand and as a system and reputation. Think of like the network effects that Ethereum and other systems like that have, and that the quality of service at that point, after kind of years of iteration and improvement, should at that point really not just match but greatly exceed the quality of service of other centralized systems. And at that point, kind of deal payment will then take over and become a really significant revenue flow for miners, right? So this whole transition arc is about how the whole Filecoin network will bootstrap, will gain, will build out a large amount of capacity and quality of service over time, and kind of improve that and optimize it to get to a really high quality of service. So the good news is we have, thanks to things like the block reward, we have quite a bit of time to be able to do that. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the ecosystem, the applications that are developed, and so on, to really yield this. And so the space race now and kind of the early days of the network are really about the life cycle of mining, being able to kind of create miners, commit capacity, start producing blocks, and take deals, store things, do all the proofs, and so on. So that's space race is greatly focused on that, and kind of the early mainnet will as well. But I do want to stress how important making deals and taking storage from clients is. And kind of in the long term, later on, really kind of the retrieval market and that whole area of being able to really achieve high quality CDN style environments is kind of further out. Like I said, this is a preview of a document we'll be sharing later on. So look forward to what folks will say about all of it. I want to touch a little bit on space race progress. It's really amazing to see the level of participation already. I'm super blown away by how much storage has been amassed. 16 petabytes is huge in 2 days. That is really a staggering scale. And it's just been awesome to see how many deals actually succeed. Like the deal success rate is super high. The retrieval success rate is also super high. I look forward to trying it out. I'm going to try and put my blog and a bunch of talks and videos and so on the network and try to serve them later on. So look forward to see how that'll play out. Shout out to all the block explorers who have been working with the new testnets and so on, and they're super useful. It's awesome to see the distribution of miners there. It's awesome to see the all of the activity. It's great to see like the EIP, the gas the gas structure that we ended up implementing working really well. So that's super exciting to see. And it's also great to see like the historical growth of the storage in the network. These kind of layered kind of like the layers of power in PhilScout here look really, really cool. And it's awesome to see just how many miners we have around the world. It's super exciting to see this many active facilities. Each one of these miners is like often a huge facility with like a lot of machines going on there. So it's really great to see folks in every continent and a lot of concentration in different areas. Just to give you a sense of scale, 16 petabytes in 2 days. That's about 8 petabytes a day. And if we keep that up during the mainnet, that's 3 exabytes. That's an enormous, staggering amount of storage. If we can do that, that'll be a really phenomenal place to be. Want to give one last shout out to the set of events around Filecoin Ignite. So Space Race is part of this larger set of events leading up to and through the mainnet launch. HackerFest was one of them. The Spark University Hackathon is another. 2 that are coming up now. One of them is Apollo, that is a partnership between Gitcoin and the Filecoin community. Definitely check this out. This is a community of builders that are coming together to work on their applications and work on systems. Highly recommend checking it out and applying, starting very soon. And the other is the Filecoin Launchpad. So this is Tachyon, which is an accelerator that's been very focused on Ethereum and Web3 in general. Is doing a whole Filecoin-oriented session, Filecoin Launchpad, and that's the applications for that close by Friday. So if you're building an application or building a company in Web3 in general, and especially if you're using IPFS or Filecoin or Ethereum, definitely apply by Friday. This is going to be a whole bunch of support. So there's seed capital and a whole amazing list of mentors that can help you build your organizations. With that, congratulations to all the miners participating in the space race. We've had liftoff, and it's going to be a really, really awesome week. So looking forward to all of it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Juan. Yeah, it's really nice to kind of take a step back, remember what's motivating us all, what our mission is, and then realize that we are a future-focused project. And Benet, like you said, is very much just chapter 1 of the story. And it's a story being written by this giant community of miners, developers, hackers. It's very exciting. I feel lucky to be here. Yes, thanks a lot. Next up, we have Michelle Lee, who many of you are probably familiar with from the Slack channels by now, who's been organizing a whole bunch of stuff around Space Race. So she'll be talking about the Space Race competition itself. Over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Aayush. All right. So we're about 48 hours into the space race, and I think our whole Filecoin project team and the whole community are incredibly excited about this. I just want to start off by repeating our goal for the competition. So if you recall, Juan spoke about a decentralized, efficient, and robust foundation for humanity's information. And that's what we want to achieve at mainnet and beyond. So the competition is really about preparing us for the mainnet through stress testing and improvements, rapid and high bandwidth communication between the mining community and the project team and everyone else involved, so that we can actually measure and improve our ability to serve that mission. So you'll see a lot of the rules and incentives during the space race competition are designed to measure our ability to do that. So decentralization, we're testing and rewarding global connectivity. we're testing and rewarding storage and retrieval markets. And so that's where a lot of the rules come from, and that's where a lot of the adjustments and minor configuration improvements have been made during the calibration period. And I think we're really starting to see that pay off because of the successes during the competition. So thank you everyone who have been hard at work making upgrades, improving your configurations and connectivity. It's really adding up to a really fantastic network. So the competition itself is a 3-week competition. We're 2 days in, about 2.5 more weeks to go. And there are a series of reward pools, both global and regional, that are growing as more storage is added. So it's both a collaboration and a competition. So you can collaborate with your region to unlock different tiers, and then you also compete for a bigger share of those tiers if you can add more storage. And the total potential storage rewards add up to 4 million Filecoin. So we're really, really motivated and excited to see how miners respond and compete and collaborate to try to reach that goal. And what each individual miner is tasked with doing is to race to add sealed storage to the network, but while maintaining good storage and retrieval quality, and that's measured by the bots. There's also an additional 100K Filecoin that's going to be split between the top block reward winners, and that's intended to simulate, the actual earnings during the mainnet of, how block rewards behave. The judging criteria. The primary competition metric is just raw byte storage power. So in this competition, verified deals are not factored into your storage power, but in mainnet they will be. The second most important criteria is deal success rate. So our pass-fail number is 80% for both storage and retrieval. And that factors in, some pretty typical network glitches, failures, things that happen in the course of connecting information around the web. But on the whole, we want to see miners aiming for 90%, and then that includes some buffer so that you can still qualify for rewards at any threshold above 80%. And we see a lot of miners, especially the miners on the first few pages of this leaderboard, well above that, so 100% or high 90s as well. So that's been fantastic to see. 2 more small things that are included in judging or rewards. We want to see miners demonstrate that at least one sector can be upgraded from committed capacity to client deals. And the instructions for that are shared in the channel and the competition rules. And the second is that there's a small bonus available for the top block reward producers. So that just matches the mainnet reward structure. So we're 48 hours in. My screenshot's already out of date, but we have currently, at last count, 291 miners participating from over 20 countries. That's really, really fantastic. And over 15, I think we're past 16 now, petabytes stored in under 2 days. So that means if we continue at the same rate, we're on track for 150 petabytes of storage by the end of the competition. And you can see on the right side of the screen, the final tier is unlocked at 100. So it sounds like we're very much on track to unlock the biggest tier of global rewards, and in several of the regional pools as well. And we see the deal success rates are strong and trending upward, especially over the course of the calibration period and competition. Right now, the Asia region is leading for storage, but these regions are only calculated from miners who have registered. So please register. Fewer than 1/3 of miners have registered, and we need you to submit your information so we can verify your location and identity and be eligible for rewards. I'll share this in the Slack channel. I think we already have. We've created new channels for every region. So Space Race-Africa, Space Race-Asia, Space Race-Australia. So you can connect and encourage other miners in your region to try to unlock these successive tiers of rewards. And you can see that the top of the leaderboard has a lot of mysteries. We're seeing fantastic storage and retrieval deal success. We're seeing mostly unclaimed miners so far. So it'll be exciting to see who emerges from the woodwork once you've registered, and we can see where in the world you are and which organizations or groups or individuals these represent. All right, next I'm going to turn it over to Ian for Space Race FAQs. Aayush, are you doing the transition between us?
I think Ian can come right on, but thank you for that update. And yeah, Ian, if you want to jump in here with some FAQs, that'd be good.
All right, thanks Aayush, thanks
Excellent.
Mosh. Good to chat with everyone. I'm Ian, also known as Ian on Slack. You've probably seen me answering lots of questions, helping with troubleshooting, and generally ensuring that the conduct of the space race goes as smoothly as possible. So what I want to do here is talk through some frequently asked questions that have come up throughout the course of the space race, just to make sure everyone's on the same page about rules, about the way things have gone so far, about procedures, and sort of just to give some more confidence in the way the competition is going. So the first thing, which Mosh already touched on, but I want to really emphasize. So we get tons of questions. How do I register for the space race? The first step is to just start mining. So we have this dashboard running at spacerace.filecoin.io. As soon as you've mined a single sector, the dashboard will automatically pick up your miner and put it on the dashboard. That's step one. Step two is to go to spacerace.filecoin.io and then click register in the top right corner. Okay, there'll be a short form you fill out. You'll follow a few instructions on your miner, and then that's it. You'll submit your information, and then we'll approve it on our end. It's so important to register. You can't be eligible to receive rewards unless you register. The deadline for people who are already mining is Monday, August 31st at 10 p.m. UTC. One point that someone made earlier today that's good to bring up, this deadline applies for people who have already begun mining. If you're trying to join the competition late, that's fine, and you're free to register once you start mining. But if you've already begun mining, this is the deadline for registration. Another question, is there a minimum miner size to receive rewards? So there's some confusion around this because at the Filecoin mainnet, there will be a minimum miner size to receive block rewards. But for the purposes of the space race, there's not a hard minimum size. So as long as you're in the top 100 miners globally, or in the top 50 within your region, then you can be eligible to receive rewards as long as you meet your storage, retrieval, and sector upgrade criteria. How will AML KYC work for space race rewards? Or a different way of phrasing this question is, how will I retrieve my rewards once the competition is ended if I'm eligible? So we work with the folks over at CoinList, and after the competition ends, if you are eligible for rewards, they will reach out via the email that you used to register, and they'll help coordinate access to your rewards, and we'll encode those into the Genesis block. So they'll start vesting over 6 months, and you'll have access to the vesting tokens as the rewards progress. CoinList will ask you to do some normal exchange style KYC, like providing a government photo ID, things like that. How will we verify miners' location? So this is quite important to the integrity of the competition because folks are working in different regions to claim different pools of rewards. So when you register, you'll be asked to provide information about your location. What will happen if you've declared your location is that we'll reach out to your registered email address with some instructions. And we can't disclose exactly what we'll ask you to do because we don't want people to have too much time to prepare for the information that we're requesting. So that should be pretty straightforward. It'll be very easy to provide as long as you've provided the correct location. Please take this seriously. If you attempt to represent that you're from a different location than it turns out you're from, then you won't be eligible to receive any rewards. Can I combine multiple miner actors into one for the competition? So this is a special rule that we've created just for the space race. During mainnet, it won't really matter whether you're mining with lots of individual miners or one large miner, but for space race, it does matter because you're sort of trying to make it into that top 100 or top 50. So if you're running multiple machines and you don't want to go through the sort of technical overhead of figuring out how to combine them into one miner, we can help with that. So all you have to do in this case is register each of your miner IDs individually, use the same email address, and then send an email to mining@filecoin.io, list out those miner IDs, and then tell us what your desired display name is. The deadline for us to do this for you is Wednesday, September 2nd at 22 UTC. So it's 2 days after the registration deadline. Make sure you've gotten these in by that time. If you haven't combined your miners after this time, we're not gonna be able to help you. The only exception is if there's brand new miners that get added to the network once again. How do we ensure that the competition is being run fairly? This is maybe the most important question. This is obviously, it's a challenging competition. People have put a lot of effort into it. They want to make sure that they succeed or fail based on their own merits. So here's what we're doing the entire duration of the competition to make sure that you have a lot of confidence that it's being run well. We constantly monitor all of the deals that are being attempted by the bot. What we're looking for is any evidence that there's an issue either with Lotus or with the bot's code. So most of the issues that we see, in fact, we haven't seen any issues so far that we've been able to confirm are the results of Lotus or bot code, but we're constantly watching for it, and there's a few we're still investigating. Any deals that we can confirm resulted from errors with Lotus or the bot will be removed from the deal log. So you won't be punished for those failed deals. They'll be credited back to your miner essentially. In addition to that, we're always monitoring Slack. Every single issue that miners post to Slack, we investigate. We ping it to our engineering team. We make sure that it's an issue that we understand and either know what caused it or have a fix in the way. We're also just giving miners as much troubleshooting assistance as possible. So if you're having an issue, if you're seeing some error messages that you don't understand, if you just need a little bit of help with your setup, you can always hop on the Space Race channel on Slack or the FIL Lotus channel. Just post your question in there. We have half a dozen engineers who are there most times of the day, and they'll be happy to help you out, troubleshoot, point you to the docs, whatever you need. And finally, just as a general thing, we're just watching to see how the competition progresses, see how storage progresses in the different continents, et cetera. We want to make sure that everyone who's put a ton of effort into participating in this competition, gets that rewarded. We're super excited to see all of you, you're early adopters, you're real pioneers. So we're just watching that sort of holistically. And as we get a little bit more information, especially as people start registering more, we'll be able to get a sense of how the competition's going overall and make any final tweaks to the extent that it's helpful. With that, I'll turn it back over to Aayush. Thank you all so much for your participation here. It's early in the space race. There's a long way to go. If you're having early difficulties, don't get discouraged. Just keep on there, keep asking questions, keep fine tuning your setup. Tons and tons of time to recover and to have a really awesome outcome. And I'll turn it back over to Aayush. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Ian, for that information and for all of the other work that you've been doing to help make sure this runs smoothly. Next up, we have Angie, who will be talking about our upcoming events calendar, all of the cool stuff that we have planned as part of the space race schedule. Over to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aayush, and thank you so much, everybody else. So we have a very exciting few weeks ahead of us. I think we've got about 3 weeks to go. We've already kicked off our events program. So let me just take you through. Bear with me 1 second. And we're off. Okay, so over the next 3 weeks, we'll be hosting a series of events where you can hear from the Filecoin mining community. You can find all the latest information here at spacerace.filecoin.io/events. So let's see what we have lined up. We'll have weekly mining workshops hosted by Filecoin engineers to explore the many aspects of Filecoin mining. Yesterday, Reba taught us about some of the common errors that you get in Filecoin mining. You can check in here. So we have 3 weeks of great content ahead. So as mentioned, Peter hosted a workshop yesterday. If you missed that workshop, and if you miss any of the Filecoin events, don't worry. We post everything straight to YouTube. You can subscribe here. One of the team will post the link in the chat. Okay, so what's up for the rest of the week? Tomorrow we've got the Miner Show and Tell with the fabulous folks from IPFS Main and 6 Block. They're going to deep dive into their architecture and hardware and tell us a little bit more about why they're excited to be mining on Filecoin. That'll take place at 6 p.m. PST. And as I said, we've got a ton of stuff coming up. So yesterday was the mining workshop. You can check that out again on YouTube. Today's the opening ceremony. Tomorrow is the Miner Show and Tell. And every Friday, we've got the Space Race Roundup. So what's the Roundup? Well, basically, we take a look at all the action that's taken place on Space Race throughout the week. We're also going to be looking out for community champions. So if you've been helping people in Slack, for example, it's a great place for us to recognize you. If you'd like to participate in any of these events, then please get in touch with us. You can apply at the link below in the chat, or you can apply on the website. Cool. Thanks so much, Aayush.
Great, thanks you so much, Angie. All of that is exciting. It's always lovely to hear from the various other people that are part of the Filecoin community. That's all we have for today, I believe. Thank you very much to everyone who joined. I hope everyone's as excited as we all are to be at this stage in the journey. Thank you to all of our speakers, Juan, Ian, Mosh, Angie. It's always exciting to hear from y'all. Yeah, and that's all we have for today. Stay safe, stay excited. Thank you again for your continued support. And let's see these final steps to mainnet go smoothly. Good luck in the space race competition, everyone. Keep asking questions on Slack. Keep opening issues on GitHub, and let us know how you're doing. Always happy to hear from y'all. But with that, we'll wrap up. Goodbye, everyone.